Arch Manning had a good day against San Jose State in the box score, that is. Counted for 5 touchdowns, looked a lot more comfortable. It was San Jose State. Okay, so the narrative around Arch Manning, I said it on my socials yesterday, Instagram, Twitter, at Judy PicKell. The narrative around Arch Manning is a lot of things, but most of all, it's predictable. So there's a couple of truths here I want us to unpack as it pertains to Arch Manning and how things are with him right now as the quarterback at Texas. We'll break it down, but if you're a Texas fan, if you're a college football sicko, make sure you are subscribed right here. We're talking about this Arch Manning narrative right now because I think it's relevant. We're not gonna beat the Arch Manning dead horse. All right, we're gonna talk about it where it's relevant. And if that sounds like something you're interested in when it comes to talking about college football and just college football, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you're dialed in. Appreciate y'all in advance for doing that. We all saw this coming, especially after the Ohio State game. We all saw this coming. Looked at the rest of their schedule, saw who they had before they played Florida. It's like, yeah, they play San Jose State. No knock on San Jose State, but if you're Texas and if you're a quarterback with the last name Manning and you're a 5-star guy and you've sat in the system for a couple of years, you should do Goodwill Hunting numbers against San Jose State. And he did. But I want us to just acknowledge how zoomed in we are on this Arch Manning discussion. I got the 4-box going. I got Texas and San Jose State in one corner. I got Duke, Illinois in the other corner. And Duke, Illinois is a game with, it's probably like the matchup, if you will, of the noon window outside of Cyhawk. And they cut away from the Duke, Illinois game for a little game break. And usually the game break is what? Like touchdown pass was thrown, interception, whatever. Like something big happened in another game. A lot of big games going on with big plays happening. SMU, Baylor, people were scoring every 30 seconds. And they cut away to a game break. It's Arch Manning's first drive, throwing 2 incompletions. I was like, I get this is a massive story. I understand that the dude could be the face of college football if he ends up playing his potential. But why are we cutting away from a game for a game break to show me 2 Arch Manning incompletions? That's not news. That's a drive. And I understand why it's a big deal for some folks, but like the fact that we're so zoomed in on Arch Manning's performance to the point where we're cutting away for 2 incompletions in the first drive, that to me is like, let's all just understand how much we're assessing this thing in real time, maybe a little bit too intensely, is all I want to make sure we have out there. The first truth I want us to unpack for Arch Manning, we'll unpack 2 truths throughout this segment. The first truth is it is 1,000,000% between the ears for Arch Manning. 1,000,000%. Spoiler, it is for most quarterbacks. I don't think there's a ton of like physical limitations to Arch Manning as a quarterback. I think he's got the arm strength to make every throw. I think the guy's a great athlete. But you could tell that first drive where you cut away to the game break and he doesn't look as stellar as you would hope, you could tell there was still some like Ohio State residue on my guy. Because Ohio State happens and Twitter goes nuts talking about how he's a bust, he's this, he's that. And I don't think Arch Manning's really on Twitter, but I do think he felt the weight of what that game was and how much pressure was on him and the expectations for him coming away from that game. And he looked like it in that first drive. Started out 2 for 5. He looked tight, a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious. Like, that's pretty much what it was to me. It wasn't like San Jose State was just throwing the kitchen sink at my guy and confusing him and getting him off kilter. Like, it was just, it was what it was. But then what happened? Sees the first one go. Touchdown to Livingston. Or Livingstone, excuse me. And at that point, it was like, okay, that basket's looking real wide open. 4 touchdowns in 5 minutes. Why? Confident. Felt some poise about himself. Felt like there was a little bit of an exhale from Arch Manning. And he plays at a high level and plays like the quarterback at Texas should play against San Jose State. But then it's like, okay, well, how do you deal with success if you're Arch Manning? Because you have that awesome run, and then, Texas is pouring it on. Looked to me a little bit like there was some learning experience there with handling success in that spot. Looked like there was, with the big lead, kind of put into cruise control a little bit if you're Arch Manning. You throw the pick. There's a lull in the third quarter. There's a strip sack that you recover, does Texas, but could have been, a worse look should San Jose State jumped on that ball. There's a couple moments where you're like, this didn't feel like a team and a quarterback that's just going for the jugular. So, like, the second truth here is, with Arch Manning and how you assess him, whatever you think about him right now in real time, I think in large part is dictated on what you thought about the guy going into the 2025 season, because you only got 2 starts of data for him in the context of this season. Like last year, you can factor that in to some extent, but like playing UTSA, Mississippi State is a little bit of a fickle sample size, in my opinion. If you thought Arch Manning was going to be the number 1 pick next year and win the Heisman Trophy this year, and you saw what you saw against Ohio State, and you saw him look a little bit mugglish against San Jose State at times in that second half, you're like, a little bit disappointed. You thought this guy's going to be Josh Allen's daddy next year, and you're like, I don't really see it from him against San Jose State, against Ohio State. What's wrong with Arch Manning? But if you thought, hey, it's a first-year starter, it's a guy who is still figuring out how to play college football, it's a guy who has had time in the system for sure, but like, let's hold this thing with open hands. He'll be good. I expect him to be great by the end of the year, but he'll be good. I think you're just kind of tracking this with the data points in real time. That's not to say you're not still disappointed in what you saw against Ohio State, but I don't think you're so quick to say Arch Manning, bust, Arch Manning, 3-star with a 5-star last name. You're not saying that. Why? Because you understand this thing's going to evolve, and Arch Manning's a human being, and he's eventually going to get to where you would expect him to be when he plays more football games. Like, that's my whole take. We've said for the better part of the last few months. Give him till Florida. Give him a few more starts. Give him another hostile road environment, because the Ohio State game is tough to open the year with on the road against that defense. It's a kind of a tricky sample size to sort through. And this was his second start being the guy at Texas. And he looked good statistically speaking, but even Arch after the game was like, yeah, a little bit sloppy, a lot to clean up, not great. And he's right. I don't think he's just saying that to be like, ho-hum, aw shucks, Arch. I think genuinely, from a head coach's perspective and from a quarterback's perspective, yesterday still probably wasn't up to their standard internally. But guess what? You play San Jose State, it's going to look pretty good when you get your plays. You have better players in San Jose State. You should have 4 touchdowns and 5 total with 1 on the ground. Like, you see it there with Arch physically. To me, it's all about what's going on upstairs with him, how comfortable he feels, honestly, how much confidence he feels, which hopefully you can build now over the course of these next few starts. And then the second part, again, the second truth is your opinion on him is very much so dictated on what you thought before the year. Because I don't think we have enough sample size on the guy in the context of this season to give us any like revolutionary / maybe definitive take on the guy. I get it. We want him to be the next great Manning. We want him to, be as poised as his uncles were, and he's like the combination of Peyton and Eli's intellect, but also his dad's athleticism, his grandpa's athleticism. Like, it's not at that point just yet. It's not, and that's okay so long as it eventually gets to a better point when they play better competition, most notably at Florida, which Florida will be, I think, a hungry dog when they go to the Swamp. But just give it a second. Let's wait a while before we have a definitive take on him as a quarterback in college football. But against San Jose State, looked good. You saw some of the green mistakes he still made, but okay, we can live with that box score. It's a step in the right direction. When he is dialed in emotionally and has the confidence behind him, he's a really good quarterback. When he's feeling anxious, when he's yanking the string a little bit, when he's trying to throw the football downfield, he's human. He's human, and he looks like a first-year starting quarterback. So I am very excited to see how this whole thing progresses, but wait till next week when, once again, they play lesser competition. Arch will have a good day. We'll have good numbers. The pendulum's going to swing back the other direction now. Is Arch better than Peyton? And what does it mean for LeBron's legacy next on first? That's where this whole thing is trending, because we have a lot of people that don't actually talk college football, specifically college football, that are just doing the flyover take thing and feeding into the Manning hype. But we'll talk about Arch Manning and Texas in the context of what we're seeing actually on the field. We'll hold it with open hands, and we'll keep this discussion as best we can in an honest context. All right? So appreciate y'all being dialed in. Again, make sure you're subscribed. College football, nothing but college football. Caden Smith on the 1s and 2s. For myself, Judy PicKell. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. We'll keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.